this is the Ornate bench project. So I'm going to show you what it looks like closed, and we've done Excited to See You Again, which is very relevant for 2020, I think. And then when we open this up, you have got this fabulous bench that opens up. This would be great for a Father's Day card, a retirement, let's get together card, that sort of thing. So really, really cute. So I'm going to talk you through this because it's not a complicated mechanism, but there are a lot of fold lines, and I've made sure that the instructions are bang on. Let me tell you, I spent a lot of time doing those instructions, so I know that they're right. Okay, so what I did in the process of making sure those instructions were right was made this little template here, okay, and it might be worth doing that for this. So the first instruction says cut the bench mechanism. That's exactly what this is, and I've got one here that I haven't scored yet, so you'll see how you manipulate those folds in. Cut the bench and cut the bench mat, which is this piece, so you've got another layer of this over the top to give it some strength, and glue it on top of the bench mechanism to strengthen the bench. Okay, now if you're using a really thick cardstock, you don't need to do that, but it's not very often that we get a heavyweight coloured card, so I wanted to make sure that you knew where that would go. So you would stick that onto there. Now I'm going to leave mine off because I will need to leave this to dry thoroughly. If you put this on and you don't leave it to dry completely before you start to fold it, it will lift. All right, so it's really, really, really important that when you're lining this up, you line the top of the bench mat to the score lines of the bench and make sure that it's aligned right the way down, so that then both sets of score lines will fold at once. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side, but you know where that goes now. So starting at the top, gently encourage the score lines as follows. The top, which are these two at the top, are a valley fold. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is put our finger there and very gently just encourage the card to fold forward on there, okay, like that. So we're just making sure we get on that score line. So that's the top one that is now gently folded as a valley. The back of the bench, which is this one here, and it's a single score line, so you might miss it, so that's why I've done the template. So the back of the bench is also a valley. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to very gently fold forward on that little score line there. So on either side of the trellis work at the back, we're going to fold that forward like that. Okay. The next one, which is the back of the seat, so that is this bit here. Let me just check that. Yeah, back of the bench, back of the seat is this one that comes along here, is another valley fold, and this is where it starts to get a little bit, you've just got to kind of lift your card like this and very gently just encourage those score lines. Okay, so just get your nail in there and your thumb and just gently encourage that forward. Okay, so the next one is the arms of the bench, which are these two, and the arms of the bench are a mountain fold, so they're going to come up the opposite way, so they're going to fold up like a mountain, like a peak. Okay, so we're going to get those coming the opposite way like that, and you can see it's starting to now want to lift. And then the front of the arms, which is this part here, or these front of the seat, front of the arms is this bit here, there. Okay, so the front of the seat is a valley, which is that one, these here on either side, so they're going to push into a V like that, and then the ones at the front are going to fold into a valley as well. Okay. Right, so then what I would suggest you do is very gently, you've got score lines across the centre. The centre score lines are a valley, so you're going to fold those back, and that's what's going to enable you to fold that card. Okay, so you can see now it's starting to want to, if I turn it towards you, you can see it's starting to want to pop up already. So then very gently you're going to hold the bottom of your card and just push forward and just encourage those arms to come forward And then when you get to this stage, then you can press it down. But don't just go at it really quickly. Just take your time and ease those score lines into place. And then just gently encourage those score lines to fold in their natural position. Don't try and move them. Just make sure that you get them nice and in position. Okay, and then when you've got that, what I do is take my scraper and use it to fold everything down. And then when this pops back up, we're going to make sure that all our fold lines are coming. This one, the back of the bench, wants to come forward as a valley. So we just need to re-encourage that to come forward, and then encourage that bit to come forward. Okay, so it's a little bit, you've got to be patient with yourself. Okay, you've got to be patient, and you've got to go back and just re-manipulate where those fold lines are. Okay, like that. And then you've got your arms that are going to come up this way. So one goes back, one comes up, and it's just getting all those fold lines correct. So I'm just going to turn it towards me so I can actually see what I'm doing properly. There we go. And that's going to fold forward like that. And then they're going to come back like that. So like that. There we go. Okay, so then we're going to press that down. It just takes a little bit of time. Okay, it's not complicated. It's not out of your abilities at all. You've just got to go back in and re-manipulate some of the shapes, or some of the score lines, okay, because it doesn't just fold over. You have to put a little bit of effort into it. Right, so I'm just going to crease that line a little bit better so that the back sits up straighter. Right, so that is your mechanism basically. There are two other mats on this. The inside mat 1, which I've cut out of blue on my finished project for the sky, and that is going to go onto there. So let's stick that in. There wasn't one of these when the team did it, and I went back to them and just said we need extra panels because our customers, our lovely viewers, are going to want to have blue for the sky and green for the grass. And I know that because I wanted it. And I'm just like you are at home. I'm a crafter through and through. So I'm going to position that, making sure that you're just going just above that fold line. Okay, and then we're going to press that in. So that would be your blue. And then you've got another one for the ground or the grass. Okay, so we're going to put that one in there as well. And I'm not going to the edges, which I should be doing, but I just want to, it's not about making this into the finished project, it's about showing you how these work. So again, I'm being aware of that central score line across here, and I'm making sure that my grass comes just underneath it and my sky goes just above it. Okay, and then that will still, your bench will still all fold up correctly. Just have to go back in again and just reinforce. Remember, those arms come forward. And every time you put the layer in, just reinforce those score lines. Okay, so you've then got that, which is really cool. Now, there is an inside of the card that you're going to do exactly what we did on the pirate one. You're going to glue this to the inside of the card, okay? And then you've got a tree, and the tree has a little tab on. So I would suggest you push that forward, and you're going to glue that in place, because once you've got your card base on, you're going to have somewhere to glue that. And then your grass, you have 2 tabs that you fold backwards, and those tabs line up with the front of the seat of the actual bench itself. Okay, so that goes in front there. I'm just going to lift this bench up again because those score lines are still wanting to go their own way instead of the way that I want them to go. So again, we're just manipulating those back into place, making sure that we're folding them down properly. And you won't have as much messing about as I have because you'll have reinforced your bench. That's why I did it in the first place, okay? So we're going to make sure that this is all pulling up and that's coming forward like that into the valley that we want. And then your grass, the 2 tabs are going to glue onto there in front of the seat. So you'll have that there, you'll have your tree there, and then you decorate it with your clouds. And I cut some leaves from a different project and covered them on the tree, so you could have a spring tree, a summer tree, an autumn tree and a winter tree. You can change this just by the colours that you use. And I'll just bring in the finished one again to show you. So on the front you've got a sentiment that says excited to see you again, and then when this pulls open, your tree pops up, your bench pops up, and you've got this fabulous pop-up card. Brilliant. Right, that's number 2.